Hey, and welcome to Discard. Today I've got 5 different display ideas for your game collection. This is part 2. Let's take a look. So the first display idea that I have is actually taking your cartridges out of their cardboard original boxes. And I know that seems weird, but if you plan to play those games in the future and open those cardboard boxes a million times, you have to keep in mind that you're actually going to be damaging those cardboard boxes because they get old and they'll start to bend and you get, wrinkles in them. All sorts of bad things can happen from just opening up those cardboard boxes. So to keep those boxes pristine, you can take the cartridges out and you can display them in front of the box, or you can display them in another part of your collection. There's a lot of ways to protect the cartridges as well. When they're outside, you can get protectors for the individual cartridge, and you could also get display stands from companies like Rose Colored Gaming. And I've also made my own DIY Game Boy cartridge stands to stand them up in front of all my Zelda games, because I know I'm going to be going back and playing those games again, and I did not want to hurt the boxes. So the next idea is just thinking about expansion and about your space, whether you're putting your games in a corner of your house, or you're putting them on the wall on a shelf, or you're putting them in an entire room dedicated to all of your cartridges and games. It's kind of important to think about the future, and if you're going to be collecting for some time, then you need to be looking at your space like it's a place for you to expand into. And some easy ways to do that is thinking about the shelf that you purchase, or the bookcase that you purchase to put your games on, and making sure that that company actually makes extra shelves to go into it. And most of them are very adjustable and have different places you can put those shelves. And that's very important, because if you have Super Nintendo games or NES games, you can put those games in there and you can make that shelf just that size and just keep stacking games on top of it. And you're not damaging games that way, and it looks really nice. Another thing in expansion is thinking about the space above your shelves and what you're going to be putting up there, whether it's collector's editions or you're going to put another floating shelf to take up the rest of that upper portion of your wall. It's kind of good to think about those things. Another thing to think about in expansion is, what do you do with some of these extra parts and pieces that come with your collection but maybe not be a good thing for displaying? Well, some of them can go in the closet, cords and wires and maybe bonus extra controllers can go in the closet. But other things like the original protectors for your Game Boy games that they used to sell, or extra tchotchkes that you don't want to put on your shelf, you can put those in game-related cases. I have a Zelda backpack that I've got packed full of game protectors and all sorts of wires and things, and I also have a Game Boy case that's packed full of a bunch of my shovelware Game Boy games that I don't display. And that's just a kind of an easy way to kind of bring them into a smaller location, and you can still pack them in with your collection. They look really nice. Another display idea is just spreading out your game collection. If you have a bunch of amiibo, or you have a bunch of odds and ends that you like putting in front of your games, spread those bad boys out, because if you put them all and mash them together, it just makes this kind of mess of things, and it doesn't even look like a game-related thing at that point. It's just kind of a mess sitting at the bottom of your shelf. If you spread out those amiibo a couple inches between them, or a few inches between them, it really makes a big difference. And even take things off the shelf. You can put some things into storage. If it gets too mashed together, then it just does not look right. And it's just for people looking to display their collections. If you want it to look really good, you do have to spread things out a little bit. And another display idea, if you have a larger shelf that shows a lot of the backing off of your shelf, then it's kind of good to back that shelf with something like a magazine or a book or a postcard, or even some of the boxes for special editions or your game consoles are good to go in the back side of a shelf. And then you put your the main event up front. It looks really nice to have something on the back of the shelf, and for some reason it just feels a lot less sterile and feels nicer to me. And the last display idea is just to keep your eyes open for different ways to display your items. Some of these containers out there, that you would think of just for utilizing as a a tea bag holder or a cosmetic holder. Some of these things, they work great for Game Boy games or Super Nintendo games, or they could be good for holding your accessories. But you got to look at these things from a game collector's point of view. When you're out and about, just keep your eyes open and think about that $1 item that's sitting there at the front of Walmart or Target or wherever, and be like, hey, I can put a bunch of my Game Boy games in there, and that will save a bunch of space, and they'll look really nice. So that was just a few different ideas on how to display your game collection. If you have some of your own personal ideas, please leave them down in the comments below. I'd love to hear them. If you like this video, leave a like. If you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe. But otherwise, have a great day and collect what you love.